Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight.
A woman who lost her mother and brother during Hurricane Dorian says she just wants to lay them to rest.
The Bahamas Public Service Union slams comments recently made by the Deputy Prime Minister.
Irate teachers protest outside the Carlton Francis Primary School.
President of the Bahamas Red Cross breaks down how donations are assisting Hurricane Dorian evacuees.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquim. Topping news tonight, hundreds gathering at Bahamas Faith Ministries at this hour for a national prayer service as Bahamians mourn the loss of those who died when Hurricane Dorian ravaged portions of Abaco and Grand Bahama. As the country paused on this National Day of Prayer, one woman is praying for a proper burial for 4 family members she lost during the storm. Jared Higgs reports.
On this National Day of Prayer, officers flew Bahamian flags at half-mast, Google displayed a black ribbon, and the Christian community will hold a national prayer service to pay its respects to the countless people who died when Hurricane Dorian launched a days-long assault on Abaco and Grand Bahama. 27-year-old Sita Cillian knows the feeling of loss. She says she lost at least 4 family members in Abaco, among them her mother and brother.
My mom passed in my hand next to me. She get hit with, I think it's a piece of wood. It gets so dark, but I noticed that the thing gone boom.
Cillian says her mother's name was Elvita Charles and that she was born in Haiti in 1956. She says her brother's name was Servilian Cillian.
I can't hear from them no more, but I can see, I want to see their body for the last time. Like, I see they down there. Or I see they cremate them. The
27-year-old hairstylist believes that her brother's body was collected. As a matter of fact, Our News pointed out the bodies of her brother, uncle, and cousin to morticians in Abaco back on September 5th. As for her mother, she isn't so sure, and it is tearing her apart emotionally.
My mom, where she is, someone have to locate them to this place. And it's not only my mommy, my cousin, my other neighbor that I see with my eye, but people think that I going crazy. Oh, your mommy dead, your mother dead, and you keep talking about it. I know, they give me strength. God give and God take, but I don't want my mommy body to be laying like this. Even the bone, if I find him, I want cremated, I want bury it in my own.
Now, this isn't the first time that Our News encountered the woman. On a recent trip to Abaco, just days after the storm, Our News spoke to the 27-year-old when she was in a frantic and disheveled-looking state. Speaking to Our News through a fence at Marsh Harbor International Airport, the woman's story hasn't changed since that hectic day. Cillian's story raises questions over whether government's official Hurricane Dorian death toll is an accurate reflection of the devastation wrought by the storm. The death toll of 51 has barely budged in recent weeks.
Where she is, someone have to show them where she is under the wood. When she passed in my hand, she was on the top of the water because the water was still high. Then the water get low. I had to go search because I know where I left her and to find her under the wood.
Cillian, who was born in the Bahamas to Haitian parents, is currently sheltered in southern New Providence. We found her outside the Kendall Isaacs gym with her father.
I lost my son, a big man. And my son, I'm working. Jesus give me life, I'm working.
The shelter is good. The food is good. The sleeping is good. It's important to me, but not as important as my mom and my dad's body. It's not rest.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Former Court of Appeal President Dame Joan Sawyer is slamming former Prime Ministers Perry Christie and Hubert Ingram's recent comments during a joint news conference, calling it nothing more than a show and a photo op. Jasmine Brown reports.
Mr. Ingram was the representative, according to Mr. Christie himself, of that area for 35 years. And he was prime minister for at least 15 of those 35 years. And he did nothing about it. And he, as a lawyer, should have known that they were illegal. He did nothing.
And now he wants to swoop in and be the czar. That's the word.
Not be the czar. I don't care what he wants to be. Just don't play games with my brain. We're not all fools out here, Mr. Ingram, Mr. Christie. We haven't forgotten you and your kind and what you've done. We praise you for your good works. We honor you for your service. But don't play with our minds in times of crisis.
She blasted both men for talking to the press about their issues with the Prime Minister when she says it could have been handled behind closed doors.
They could have said to him, well, you know, we know this is one-off. We've never seen anything like this ourselves. We're going to help. But you don't need to have to mention us. We'll just do what we can. We'll be in the background. But if you need us, we're here. That's what a decent gentleman does in times of crisis. He doesn't put himself forward. And worst of all, he does not go to the newspaper.
The former prime ministers, who had a joint press conference last Wednesday after touring Abaco, said they had offered help to Minnis, but the offers were not taken up.
Why was it necessary for either of them to contact Dr. Minnis, who is new to the job, compared to them? They had their experience under Pinlan. He has had none. And I'm not defending Dr. Minnis. I'm defending the office of Prime Minister.
Okay.
I don't care who holds it. Once the Prime Minister is there, you respect the office.
Christie also said last week Wednesday he believed Ingram, the former MP for North Abaco, would be the perfect person to lead the effort to rebuild Abaco. However, Ingram said he did not see such a position being carved out for him. Christie also claimed he spoke with Prime Minister Minnis and told him that he should exercise the greatest care because the reputation of the country was being assaulted. Dame Joan insisted the former PM should be the last person offering advice.
Well, whoop-de-doo. Who gave him the authority to talk about the reputation of the country?
When asked if she felt their comments were damaging for Minnis, Dame Joan said this.
I don't think they could affect this Prime Minister negatively if they wanted to.
Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
In other news, the Bahamas Public Service Union is demanding an apology from the finance minister, whom he says failed to consult union leaders before he announced publicly that a lump sum payment for public servants has been put on hold due to Hurricane Dorian. Union President Kingsley Ferguson said it was embarrassing to receive the information secondhand. Jillian Gray reports.
The union president called the deputy prime minister's comments a blatant disregard for the union and called on him to apologize.
We do not need to be shocked or surprised as it relates to information that we should have been given firsthand. And so, again, we're waiting to hear something from the government. I would have sent the Prime Minister a little WhatsApp.
On Tuesday, Finance Minister Peter Turnquest told reporters that while they do intend to pay that promised lump sum to public servants, the payment for now is on hold in the wake of Hurricane Dorian. The BPSU president said he was shocked and embarrassed to receive that news secondhand. Ferguson added that the union is sensitive to the current crisis in the country, but will not be disrespected.
We are sensitive. We understand the devastating impact that Hurricane Dorian has had on the Bahamas, Bahamian people, members of the public service, members of Bahamas Public Services Union, and so we're not going to do that. We are sensitive and caring, and we want the government to know at the same point that we are not going to sit by and allow the government to have a blatant disregard for us.
The announced 2-month salary advance for public sector workers affected by the monster storm is fair in the union's eyes, says Ferguson, who suggested that more be done not only for Abaco and Grand Bahama residents, but also for those in the capital who experienced major flooding.
Nothing less than a loan or advance of $5,000 per person to Nassau that would have been impacted. And I think during Hurricane Matthew there was some $20,000 to $40,000 that were loaned to public servants over a particular time frame. And we are asking that the government give consideration to that at probably an interest rate of 1%.
With about 500 members in Grand Bahama and nearly 200 more in Abaco who were affected by the storm, the union is actively packing and sending supplies to those storm-ravaged islands. A shipment is on the way for Grand Bahama residents, and for those who have evacuated to the capital, the union president is requesting that they reach out to him for help.
And this is going to be an ongoing process.
Reporting for our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
The drama at Carlton Francis Primary School escalated this morning as teachers and union officials protested outside the school's campus. The furious teachers stood behind barricades as a dozen police officers guarded the school's entrance. Jasmine Brown has the story.
Those teachers say they are simply fed up and they're calling for the education minister to step in before the situation gets more out of hand.
Enough is enough.
Veteran teacher Deborah Ramming was just one of several irate teachers outside Carlton Francis Primary School on Wednesday morning. Those teachers have sat out several times since the school year began last week Monday, forcing officials to bring in substitute teachers.
We're not fighting with the parents. We're not fighting with our students. We love our classrooms. We love our students. We just want a minister to do what he's being paid to do.
Says Monday stress, Tuesday stress, but here at Carlton Francis, even on Sunday, when teachers should be worried about lesson planning and planning for the children, they think about the stress.
The issues at Carlton Francis Primary School have persisted for the last 2 years. In late August, nearly 24 teachers signed a petition calling for the removal of the school's principal. The union is also concerned about conditions at the school. Bahamas Union of Teachers Executive Member Cyril Morris led the more than 24 teachers and union members as they stood outside the barricaded entrance of the school on Wednesday morning. He insisted the barricades and police were overkill.
You've seen it all over social media, but it's the truth. You're here today. You'll see it in live colors. The numbers of police have increased. We have crime going on. Murders can't be solved, but you have all of these police when they're supposed to be on patrol or somewhere else. On this National Day of Prayer, they need prayers. The minister needs prayers. Don't we all need prayers?
Education Minister Jeffrey Lloyd says he has attempted to meet with union leaders. However, he said that meeting fell through last week Thursday when the union attempted to bring additional people. Lloyd says he only intends on meeting with union officials as there is a process to follow. His ministry is now moving on to the next step.
We are filing a trade dispute and we are going to bring in the Minister or Ministry of Labor and let them conciliate this matter and let us come to a place where there is respect.
At least one parent at the school agreed with Lloyd, saying it's the students who are suffering from the actions of the teachers.
Our kids are being traumatized by this. Whether it's an issue with the principal or it's an issue with the school, it can be done better than this. It has to be other avenues you can take than every morning you have to come out to the school, bring your kids here. I myself had to escort a child in the gate because she was afraid.
Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
All right, thanks, Jasmine. Still to come, social services addresses challenges at New Providence shelters. The details after this break.